Welcome to class, everybody. We'll get started in a child's pose. So either take your knees really wide, heels together, stretch your arms out long in front of you, palms face down, and try and find a connection, getting your forehead to the mat. Another version of child's pose that you can take is knees in together and arms out long by your sides, palms face up. So find the freedom to try on both and see what feels better with you in your body this morning. Sometimes that compression between the tops of your thighs to your torso, supporting your heart, can feel really nice. And close down the eyes. And begin to draw focus in on your breath. When we use our breath as a tool to center ourselves in the present moment, we start to find increased space in between each and every thought or idea that might come through our mind. So I encourage you to try and find that space. Something that I like to do is not only count the inhalations and exhalations so that they match, or that the exhalation is actually a bit longer for one count, letting go a little bit more than you take in, but also draw attention to the space between your breaths. That moment at the top of your breath, the little lull that is in between the inhalation and exhalation. Find that moment of peace, and then continue along with the breath, finding the same type of pause at the bottom before breathing back into the body. And here we start child's pose as a time to calm ourselves down from any energy that we might have worked up from the week or earlier this morning. And also calm ourselves for whatever may happen next. Feel free to take child's pose whenever you lose this quality of breath. If your heart ever starts to race during class, or you find that you're holding your breath or it's sticky, take a step back. Give yourself permission to pause, regather yourself, and then jump back in when you're ready. So take a deep breath in through the nose, holding for a moment at the top. Open your mouth wide and exhale. Maybe feeling a bit more relaxation, dropping in the hips. And then take a deep breath in through the nose once more. Feel your ribs expand laterally, kidneys pressing up towards the sky. And then audible exhale out of the mouth. Now seal your lips and continue to breathe in and out through your nose, maybe even creating a slight constriction to the back of the throat. It might sound like the ocean, waves crashing up onto the shore, or even a bit like Darth Vader. You like to think about it like that. And what we're doing here with breathing in and out through the nose is creating what's called an Ujjayi breath. And the slight constriction to the back of the nose creates a sense of tension, which creates heat from the inside out. So maybe if you continue with this breath just in child's pose, you'll already start to feel a sense of warmth, and we haven't even started moving yet. Start to walk out your hands forward towards the front of your mat, keeping the head down. Come high up onto the fingertips, lifting through the wrists and the forearms, and find space along the sides of your body. Wrap the triceps down and pull the shoulders away from the ears. And then start to walk your fingertips over towards the right. Maybe rock the forehead towards the right. And then place the left hand on top of the right hand and find a nice stretch along left side body. Anchor down through your right hip. And maybe the fingertips walk forward towards the right. One more inch. Deep breath in along the sides of the left ribs. And then exhale, walk the fingers back to center. On your next inhale, start to walk the fingers over towards the left. Crossing left hand on top of right. Send deep breaths in along right side body. Fanning open through the right rib cage. Draw the right shoulder blade down your back. One more deep inhale. And then exhale, hands come back to center. Start to press into the hands and rock your weight forward into a tabletop position. Stack your shoulders over the wrists and hips over your knees. And here just start to roll the shoulders over the wrists in one direction and then the other. Press the hips down over your heels, and then press them back up over the knees. Just a couple of times. You can take big circles with the hips. Maybe you hear or feel some popping of the joints. That's normal, that's okay. It's just air releasing from the joints. And then come into a static tabletop position. Gaze is down in between the hands to keep the neck spine long. Press the mat away from you so that you can broaden through the shoulder blades. And then inhale, we're going to draw a big circle with the right hand, pressing it forward towards the front of your space. Fingertips come all the way up towards the ceiling, opening up towards the right, and then towards the back of your space. And then when you come all the way back down, flip your hand so that the fingertips face towards your right knee. So we're in a standard fingers forward in the left hand and fingers back in the right. On your next inhale, gaze comes forward, drop the belly, and lift the tail. When your exhale arrives, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, round the spine. Inhale, look forward, arch the back, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then exhale, round the spine. Tuck the chin, really press backside body up towards the sky. And one more inhale to lift. And exhale, come back to tabletop. Now right hand's gonna come back this time, just reversing the grip. Open up towards the side of your space, and then replace the hand back to neutral. We're gonna do the same thing with the left side. Inhale, reach the arm forward towards the side, opening up. And then on your exhale, flip the grip. Find a nice opening through the left forearm. You can always bend into the elbow if you need a little bit more. Take a deep inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze. Find your variation of cow pose. And then exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, cat. Your inhale takes you up. Full breath in. Eyes can be closed, and exhale, round the spine. Not a whole lot to see here, but there's so much more to feel. Take it back up into cow. And cat. And one more, arching the back. And then bring it back to neutral. Left hand comes behind you. Stretch it up towards the sky. And then replace. Tuck the toes under. And then start to walk the hands back so that your hips are on your heels. Coming into fire toes, the toes are tucked under, heels stack over toes. Get those pinky toes out of the way and place your hands on the tops of your thighs. Roll the shoulder blades down, the back sitting up nice and tall, crown of the head pressing up forward. We're going to take an inhale in through the nose and start breath of fire. So it's rapid exhales out of the nose, and you're snapping your belly in with each exhale. The inhale will come automatically, so it might take a little bit of practice, but we'll start all together. Inhale through the nose, and then exhale, begin. Five, four, three, two, one. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. Find your point of focus in front of you or close your eyes. Try to stick with it. I know it's intense. You might feel deep tugging sensation on the backs of your feet, maybe along the backs of your calves. And exhale out of the mouth, release. And we'll go through one more round. So inhale through the nose and begin. Five, four, three, two, one. Inhale through the nose. Hold the breath. Stick with it. And exhale out of the mouth. Walk the hands forward, tuck the toes, and tap the tops of your feet on your mat. Ooh, that feels good. And then tuck the toes under once more and start to walk the hands towards the back of your mat, lifting up the knees, straightening through the legs, forward fold at the back of your mat. Now knees can be bent here. This is our first forward fold, so our hamstrings might not be warmed up yet. But grab for the opposite elbows or interlace your fingers at the nape of your neck and just allow the upper body to hang really heavy, maybe swaying the hips from side to side. Just encouraging the crown of the head to come further towards your mat. If you're staring in between your toes, drop the head so that you're staring in between the legs. And whether your legs are straight or bent, try and find a connection of ribs to tops of thighs. That might mean that your knees are really bent here. And then drop your fingertips towards your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips come to your shins or on the tops of your thighs. We'll be here for a breath. Pull the crown of the head forward and rock weight into your toes so that you can encourage that movement of hips over your heels. Long spine here. One more inhale. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Bend heavily in the knees and start to roll up one vertebrae at a time, coming up into a mountain pose. Take your time. It might take a couple of breaths to get there. But when you get 3/4 of the way there, straighten through the legs. Chin comes up last, roll the shoulders down. And hands can stay by the sides. Shift weight into both feet. Identify if you are holding more weight in one foot or the other. And then come into stillness, evenly distributing the weight. Gaze is soft, eyes out in front of you. Smooth the breath. And press into the big toe mound, the outside edge of your foot and your heel, so that you can lift up on the arches of your feet, protecting the ankles, and follow that line of energy up your body. Engage through the thighs so that you can lift the kneecaps up the thighs. Create a neutral pelvic bowl. So you don't want anything to spill forward and you don't want anything to spill back. You want it to be nice and even. Imagining that you have water in your pelvis. Tuck the floating ribs in. Almost like zipping a zipper from the 2 inches below your belly button all the way up to your neck. And then finally pulling up through the crown of the head. Imagine if we can stand with this type of intention throughout the day. When's the last time that you actually thought about the way that you stand? Inhale, bring your arms up above your head. Palms face towards each other. Draw the shoulder blades down your back, and then grab your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale at the top, and then start to bend over towards the right, pressing the hips towards the left. Try and press your right hip forward and left shoulder forward. If you'd like a little bit more of a stretch along the left side body, bring the left foot behind the right foot. And feel for how that intensifies the stretch. One more deep exhale here. And then inhale back to center. Replace the left foot if you moved it. Gaze up on your inhale. Grab for the opposite wrist. And then exhale. Bend over. Nice side body stretch here. Gaze over towards the right, or maybe even up towards the ceiling. If you took that modified stretch, go there now. And it's okay if that right heel, if you're taking the variation, the deeper variation, it's okay if that right heel doesn't meet the mat. One more deep inhale here. And then exhale back to center. Deep inhale in through the nose, gaze comes up, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. And then start to walk your hands into your downward facing dog. Lifting the hips up and back. And if you need a measurement between, or if you're not sure what the distance between your feet and your hand should be, press forward into an upper push-up plank, stacking shoulders over wrists, and then press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. It's just a good guideline to follow. Press into the knuckles of your hands and feel for a grip underneath your hands, like you're suctioning your mat up with your hands. This will help you protect your wrists by engaging the muscles around your wrists and in your hands. If you find that your heels, or if you can see your heels knocking inward towards each other or outward towards each other, just tuck them back so that they disappear behind your toes. Take a deep inhale in through the nose and exhale through the nose. Gaze comes forward, looking in between the hands, and then takes little steps towards the front of your space. Little steps, forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Drop your hands down beside you. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And then step your right foot back. Come down onto the right knee. And then inhale your arms up overhead. Low lunge. When your exhale arrives, place your hands back down, just onto the fingertips. Straighten through the right leg. Bring the right foot forward, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, mountain pose, stretch up nice and tall. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Hands come by your sides. Inhale, arms reach up overhead, gaze comes up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot back. Low lunge. It's okay if the back toes are tucked. We're moving a bit swiftly now. When your exhale arrives, plant the hands back down. Straighten through that left leg. Send it forward into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Take a deep inhalation and exhalation. And then start to shift weight into your left foot. Spread the left toes really wide so that you can create a good foundation where we're going next. We want the most amount of surface area that we can have in a balancing pose. So once you start to shift the weight into the left leg, lift up the right leg. Hands can come to your hips if you'd like. And just stack the knee over your ankle and keep lifting out of the left leg. No dumping weight down, keep it lifted. Take a deep inhale here, arms rise up overhead. And then exhale, start to kick your right glute with your right heel, bringing the knee down below the hip. And then start to bend into the left knee, slowly extending through the right, trying to find your mat with your right toes. And then come down onto the right knee. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep your arms down by your sides. Half splits. Now hands can come to the mat if you need a little bit of support for yourself, but if you can do it, keep the hands lifted behind you like airplane wings. And then inhale, shift the weight forward into the right or to the left foot. Inhale, arms rise up overhead. And then begin to hover the right knee. Double bent leg lunge here. Press the palms together. Bend into the elbows, bringing the thumbs to the nape of your neck. Draw the shoulder blades down and back. And then on your next inhale, try and straighten through the right leg and then straighten through the elbows. Gaze comes up if it's available. And then exhale. Start to move your body forward, reaching out long in front of you. Sending weight into the left foot. Maybe the right toes start to hover. And then bring the right knee up into the chest, straighten through the left leg. And then exhale. Replace the right foot, hands come down to heart center. That wasn't so bad, okay? Stick with it, we're gonna do the same thing on the left. Start to spread the right toes, create a good, steady base. And then bring the left knee up. Just holding it here for a moment. This is a good opportunity to move towards a wall if you have one. It's always nice to have a wall by you in your home practice at least. And then lift your arms up overhead. A little bit of a balance challenge here, but find your point of focus wherever that may be in front of you. It can be out on the wall in front of you or about 10 feet out on the ground. And then start to kick your left heel towards your left glute. Take a micro bend in that right knee. Maybe even a bit of more of a bend in your right knee so that you can bend forward and find the ground with the left toes. Low lunge, inhale, arms reach up, and then exhale, airplane through the arms. Send the hips back, half splits. Pull the crown of the head forward. On your next inhale, bend into the right knee, arms reach up overhead, hover the left knee off of the mat. Pull the floating ribs in, pull the right hip back, left hip forward. And then bend into the elbows, bringing the thumbs to the nape of the neck. And then as you extend through the elbows, gaze comes up, straighten through the back leg. Slight back bend here for those who want it. And then on your exhale, reach forward, 45-degree angle between the left heel through the fingertips. Send your weight forward. And then bring that left knee in towards the chest, really activating through the right glute. And then exhale, hands come down to heart center, replace the left foot. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Take a full inhalation and exhalation here. Maybe you shake your head from side to side, up and down. Just giving yourself a bit of a break. And then start to inhale your arms up overhead. And then bring the hands down to heart center. We're going to add on a little bit, okay? So start to shift weight into the left foot, reaching the right leg up. If you'd like, straighten through the left or the right leg. It's okay if it's not so high, it can be down low too. But challenge yourself. Imagine that you have a candle underneath that right heel and you're lifting it up so you don't get burnt. And then start to bend back into the right knee, sending the foot back. And instead of dropping the right knee, come down into that double bent leg lunge. Inhale here. And then exhale, straighten through both legs. Hands come behind you. wide pyramid pose. Inhale into crescent warrior. And then exhale, send your weight forward, hovering the right toes and bringing the right knee in towards the chest. Straightening through the right leg if you'd like it. Just for one breath, lift it up high, challenge yourself, and then replace the foot. Hands come to heart center. Good. Spread the toes on the right foot, lifting up the left leg. Straighten through the left leg if you'd like it. Just holding here for a moment. And then start to bring the hands up overhead, bending into the left leg and sending it back. Staying high on the back toes. Inhale, double bent leg, lunge, and then exhale, straighten through both legs. Gaze comes down. Inhale, crescent warrior. Keep that left leg strong and straight. And then exhale, send your weight forward. Find that extension. And then left knee comes into chest. Straighten through the left leg if you'd like. And kick up. And release. Hands come to heart center. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale. Bring the hands down by your sides. Inhale, chair pose. Sit your seat low, arms come up. Bring your biceps back by your ears, lifting up through the chest, but sitting down one more inch. Notice what you're doing in your face. Can you relax between your brows? Maybe you smile a little bit, tricking your brain into liking this pose, because everybody loves chair pose, right? Oh gosh, okay, inhale, lift through the heart, and then exhale, airplane the arms. So you're in the same position in the legs. Palms face down, gaze is down, keeping neck spine long. Keep navel pressing in towards the spine. One more breath here, and then start to interlace your fingers, bending into the elbows, bringing them towards one another, broadening through the collarbones, and then start to straighten through the elbows and then straighten through the legs, coming into a forward fold, or something that looks or feels a little bit like one. Nice shoulder opening. And once you're here, stare in between the legs and try and push your shins away from one another so that you can keep the engagement in the legs. If you're gripping your toes with the mat, release and evenly distribute the weight towards the rest of the bottom of the foot. Release the grip of your fingers, and then inhale, dip the hips low, sweep the arms forward, find your chair pose once more. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Straighten through the legs, mountain pose. Deep inhale in through the nose, exhale through the nose. And then one more round, inhale, hips come low, arms up, chair pose. Stick with it, find your edge. Maybe you sit a little bit deeper than you did the last practice. Try and find that mini chair that you want to sit in. Set your goal and then go for it. On your next inhale, sit a little bit lower. On your next exhale, lift your heart forward. And then sweep the arms back, airplane arms. Gaze comes down. And then interlace the fingers. Straighten through the elbows, straighten through the legs. Pressing your palms away from one another. Keeping the fingers interlaced. And hands press overhead. Shift weight forward into the toes. Not so much that you'll fall over, but if you fall, that's okay too. Get right back into it. Try and press those sits bones up towards the sky. One more breath. And then release the grip. On your inhale, your hips low, arms lift up, palms face towards each other, chair pose. One inhale here. And then exhale, hands come to heart center, straighten through the legs. Good job. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then walk your feet out away from one another. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. The feet away, about match width distance apart. And then sit your hips down in between your feet. And if you can't get there or your hips are really high, I'd encourage you to put a blanket or roll your mat up a little bit so that you can lift through the heels. That might be a little bit more comfortable for you. Bring the hands to heart center, elbows out wide. And press your elbows into the inner thighs and give that pressure right back into the elbows. When you do this, you should feel an engagement of the outer glutes and thighs and a broadening through the mid to upper back. Your gaze is out past your nose. Smooth your breath down. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, sit your seat all the way onto the ground. It's okay if it doesn't look very graceful. Try and get your hips to the center of your mat. And then inhale your shins up so that they're parallel with the ground. Arms out wide, or arms out in front of you, palms face up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Imagine that you have a string in the center of your chest and it's lifting up towards the sky. If you'd like more of a challenge, you can straighten through the legs. Really spread those toes wide. Gaze in line with the big toes. Engaging through the core. Take a deep inhale here. And then exhale. Come into a low boat, extending through the legs, keeping them hovering off of your mat. Keep the shoulders lifted. And then inhale up to high boat. Exhale, low boat. Inhale, knees to chest, high boat. Exhale, lower down, low boat. Low back comes down to the ground. Inhale your right knee in towards your chest. Interlace your fingers and press your right thigh down while pressing the right thigh up. If you can't keep that left heel lifted, bring it down to the mat. Modification. Keep that pressure in between the thigh and the hands. Feel for that engagement. I know it sucks. One more deep inhale here. And then exhale, straighten through the right leg. And bring the left knee in towards the chest. Flip the grip with your fingers, creating a little bit more consciousness, evening out the body, finding that balance. Press the thigh in towards your face, pressing the thigh away from you at the same time. Shoulders lift off the ground. You can do it. One more full inhalation and exhalation. And then exhale, drop. Come flat on the floor. Pull the knees in towards your chest. And draw big circles with your knees. And the other way around. Just releasing through the low back. Giving it a bit of a massage. And then once you're here, extend through the left leg, allowing the heel to come flat on the ground, the leg to be straight as possible, and then interlace your fingers, bringing it to the right shin, and then bring the right knee in towards the chest, bypassing the rib cage, pulling it up towards that right armpit. Use your biceps to pull the knee in a little bit deeper, keeping that right foot flexed. Tuck your chin slightly. See how that might open up the back of your neck a little bit more. And here we're just squeezing the front of the right hip, creating compression to the ascending colon. Quite literally squeezing out our insides. It's one of the great benefits of yoga. We're moving, twisting, folding, squeezing all of the toxins or junk out of our body, or allowing ease of passage. Release, laying the right leg long, and then bring the left knee in towards the chest. Flip the grip with the hands, and then bring the knee up and over towards the left. Keep the shoulder blades flat on the mat. Here now, squeezing the descending colon. And creating compression to the left hip. Now allowing that compression that we made to the right hip, all the blood that was constricted, blood and lymph, to flow freely. If we don't move our bodies, we can become hard. We have this layer of what's called fascia underneath the skin. If you're not moving your body consistently, that can harden. And when that layer hardens, it's harder for the flow of toxins to release from our body. One more exhale here. And then extend through the left leg. Give yourself a moment before bringing both knees in towards the chest. And try and wrap your arms around your shins so that you can try and grab for opposite elbows and tuck the chin, maybe even giving yourself a double chin, and stare at the space in between the knees and the arms. It might be a diamond shape. It might be an upside down triangle. But really squeeze the knees in towards the chest. Now compressing the transverse colon. Really send your breath into your belly, feeling the ribs expand upward into the thighs. And when your exhale comes, squeeze a bit deeper. Try and keep your hips as far towards your mat as you can if you feel that they're lifting up. One more full breath here, bringing the shoulders a bit further down towards the mat if they have lifted. And then release, bringing both legs out long. Give a tug to the heels so that they're forward. The backs of your calves, that Achilles heel is as flat on the ground as possible. And then lift the arms up overhead. Cross the thumbs, or hook the thumbs rather. And give yourself a long side body stretch. Reaching up through the fingertips. Setting up for a sit-up. So take a deep inhale in. And then on your exhale, shoot your body forward. Forward fold. It might take you a minute to get there, but it should be one sweeping motion. And wherever your hands land, accept them where they are. It could be on your shins, it could be on the sides of your mat, it could be on your feet. Don't judge yourself on where your hands land. You come to yoga to become more flexible, not because you already are. So we all have a starting point. Try and keep the feet flexed. And use wherever your grip is to pull your hands back towards your hips so that you can pull your chest through towards your toes. And then inhale, come all the way up. And then bring the soles of your feet together, Baddha Konasana, or butterfly. And adjust your hips, trying to get as much weight on your sits bones as possible. And if you need to physically move the flesh away from your sits bones, go ahead and do that. And then interlace your fingers, wrapping your hands around your feet. Sit up nice and tall. And then exhale, bring your chest towards your feet. Gaze out long in front of you. Come back to the breath. Or check in with the breath. Has it been conscious or have you been conscious about your breath for the majority of class? Only part of class? Only right now? Again, no judgments, but just notice. Recognize so that next time you can be more aware. We practice out of a love for yourself. So give your body and mind love even when you might feel behind or discouraged. Start to rise up, bringing the heels in towards your mat, or even the soles of feet into your mat. Inhale the chest up high, extending the arms forward, and start to rock your weight back, keeping the spine long. It gets tough when we get further towards the mat, but stick with it. Exhale back, inhale back, inhale, exhale back, inhale back. Your feet are going to want to lift. Try and press them back down towards the mat, and then eventually you come all the way down onto your back. Bring your heels in towards your glutes, and then extend the arms. Try and brush with your fingertips the backs of your heels. Just just so that you can brush them. Just barely touch them. And then start to press into the feet, press into the hands, press into the shoulders, lift up through the hips. Bridge pose. Once you find a nice bridge here, start to interlace your fingers underneath, rolling one shoulder underneath your chest and then the other. And use your elbows and forearms and hands pressing into the mat like a gas pedal to drive the hips up a little bit further. Turn on your glutes. Turn on your thighs, quads, hamstrings. By pressing weight into the mat and maybe even pressing the toes or pressing into the heels so that the toes are angled forward without actually moving your feet. One more full breath. And then exhale, hips come down to your mat. Keep your feet where they are. And then lift the right leg up, keeping a bend in the right knee, flexing the right foot, bringing the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Here, press into the right knee with the right hand, pressing the inner thigh open. And then start to rock your hips over towards the left, bringing the sole of the right foot down towards the ground. Take your time here. It's okay if they don't fully make it to the mat, but wherever you are, wherever you stop, grab a hold of your right ankle with your left hand and then extend the right arm out long like a T, and then gaze over towards the right. Nice twist here. Soften through the eyes. Take one more full breath. And then start to work your way back to center, uncrossing the right ankle and press into the mat with both feet so that you can adjust the hips if they've shifted. And then press the hips back down, lift up the left leg, crossing left ankle, atop right thigh. And then press the inner left thigh away from you. Feel for an opening along the front of the left hip. And then begin to rock weight all the way over towards the left. Towards the right. Rights and lefts today. You know where you're going. And then once you've found your depth, gaze over towards the left, extending the left arm long. And feel for a sensation along the top of your left hip. Getting into a hip flexor called the psoas. And a fun fact for you all, the psoas is the only muscle connecting your lower body to your upper body. I know, it's hard to believe. It's typically the muscle, like it's really tight, especially if you're sitting a lot through the day, or if you're a runner, or if you just don't give your body enough time to stretch out the front of your hip. Take one more full inhalation and exhalation here. And then slowly come back to center. Pressing both feet into the mat. Lifting up the hips if you need to adjust. And then once you find some evenness in the hips, extend through the legs, taking up as much space as you'd like. And really spread through the legs so that your heels come towards the two front corners of your mat. Lay your arms out long, palms face up, just setting up for our Shavasana, corpse pose. Make any final adjustments that you need, and then close your eyes. Let go of your breath. Parting your lips slightly, and simply allow the body to breathe itself. Take a final scan of your body from your toes all the way up to the crown of your head, releasing in places that you still might be holding on to. Typically, I like to travel up the joints, the ankles, the knees, the biggest joint of our body, the hips, coming up to the shoulders, elbows. Allow the wrists to feel heavy, fingers curling up. And then finally, allow the cheeks to become soft, tongue away from the roof of your mouth. And let your forehead become still, like a calm lake. Never too deep in the breath. We go through the fingers and toes. Rock the head from side to side. And then begin to bring the knees in towards the chest. And either rock forward and back, or fall to one side, eventually pressing your way back up to center, into a seated position. Once you're there, bring your hands to heart center. Close the eyes. And create a sense of gratefulness for making it to your mat today, honoring your practice, allowing your body to breathe and sweat. And I hope you carry this sense of calm and peace throughout you with your day. The student and teacher in me salutes the same student and teacher in you. Namaste.